Welcome to today's discussion. As far as this problem is concerned, we have initiated this problem sometime during the fag end of our earlier session. Though it was formally discussed, this problem, I thought it's a problem worth discussing once again. Here, the modifications that is made by me little different from what it was published from the RTP perspective is in an RTP perspective, this question was tested only from the S limited job workers perspective, whereas I'm redefining this problem from both perspective. I want to know the value of supply of R limited and also the value of supply of S limited. Okay. Now, when it comes to job workers concern, I'm sure all of you will agree with me where the materials and necessary whatever requirements of goods, all this will be supplied by the principal, which is R limited, to S limited, and S limited will process the goods or services, comes up with the finished goods. And S limited is going to be involved in the activity of, or S limited is going to come out and highlight to us that this is what is the finished goods that I want. Now, in this background or in this situation, points for our discussion is in case of S limited, who is going to be involved in the job work activity, when we read through from schedule 2 perspective, S limited is engaged in supply of services. So the job work charges alone 75,000 rupees, which includes a profit of 15,000 rupees. 75,000 rupees would be value of supply. When it comes to transportation of goods from principal to job worker or job worker to principal, those are all information given. See, generally, it is all the responsibility of R limited to take care of all this. Additionally, in this question, one more aspect is given, which is R limited uh, procured a particular technology on a right to use basis. That R limited technology, they use it for manufacturing of it. Because the goods are manufactured by S limited, R limited has shared the technology right to use to S limited. The cost of technology is 25,000. Now, is this 25,000 need to be added? In case some of you had in your mind, I would again recommend you go back and read through the discussions. As a principal, I can supply goods and services to the job worker. My job worker will use those goods, use those services, process it and send it back to me. And in fact, our contract itself is worded like this. So these are all, let me repeat, all the other expenses and technology, because the question is silent, because the question is silent about whether these are all charged by S limited separately or not, we will not comment anything. We'll go by the general principle, which is an expenses of R limited for the purpose of further activity and movement of goods. Now, in any case, R limited sold the finished goods in the market for 42 rupees, and goods are liable at 12% and services are liable at 5%. Both of them are not related person. Again, an assumption that comes in always, unless otherwise question is particularly saying they are related person. Followed by a last discussion could be on S limited has offered a discount of 1,000 rupees. People who make full payment at the time of rising invoice. That discount is also given in the invoice level itself. So the whole discussion becomes a lot more easier. The whole discussion becomes a little more comfortable, where they come out and highlight to us that this discount of 1,000 rupees, which is reduced from the value, will be out from the tax net. So 75,000 value of supply of service less 1,000 rupees, 74,000 into 5%, it should strike to us. A reference should be made in the question as per schedule 2. If you want to be little more particular, para number 3, treatment or process of goods, very clearly highlights that any treatment or process carried out on another person material would be considered as a supply of service. So the rate of tax will be 5% on the 74,000 rupees. Naturally, are sold goods for 42 rupees. 42 rupees into 45,000 into 18, sorry, 12%. We will get the rate of GST payable for R Limited. That would sum up our discussion relating to R Limited. So I just want all of us to be a little comfortable on this problem. Two reasons. As I earlier mentioned, this is one of a problem which is a pet problem from an examiner perspective. Only change I made in the problem is this two additions. This 2 points are limited, sold the finished goods, and rate of tax. These two are my modification, but for it, it's a problem. Without a technology transfer has appeared in the earlier final exams for more than 7 times as a 5-mark question. With the technology transfer, it was brought in as a RTP problem and a good problem, standard problem for a exam from an exam perspective. Any doubts on this problem? Yes, if you have thoughts, different views on this problem, yes, I would take it up. Else, we will move forward towards another problem for discussion. On valuation rules, this is a straightforward problem where details of raw material consumed, labor and other expenses which are direct in nature and indirect in nature are all shared to us. Don't underestimate a problem like this. Will it come in exam? We have precedents. Yes, problems like this are part and parcel of our exams. I still remember at least my exam experience. I was very good in Rule 8, the erstwhile excise rules, which discuss verbatim same thing. What is that you are reading today as Rule 30 is nothing but Rule 8 of Central Excise Valuation Rules 2000, which simply came out and told it is going to be cost of production plus 10%. But there are two adjustments. There were two adjustments which prevented me from taking that question, a little easy question. From if a problem like this steps in an exam for about 8 marks or 7 marks, I think that's the best part of the question. Okay, so I'm just coming up with almost a proposal like this. Uh, no, a very simple, straightforward question. From this basic information, we need to obtain value of supply. Hope a very simple question. All of us can go ahead and proceed with this question. Material consumed inclusive of IGST 2,36,000. Direct labor is lakh and 60,000. Direct expenses is going to be 40,000. Indirect material is 25,000. Factory overheads is 80,000. Administrative overheads is lakh and 50,000. Selling and distribution overheads is lakh and 25,000. Quality control expenses 36,000. Uh, Followed by realizable value of scrap and wastage is going to be 20,000. Profit margin of the company stands at 15%. Now, coming back here, how are we going to determine the value of supply as per Rule 30? So this test is a very clear test, a straightforward rule problem. So as far as Rule 30 is concerned, it's going to be COP plus 10 percentage. With these numbers, what references we are going to make, what notes we are going to make, how we are going to arrive at the value of supply. That would be the simplest question from here. You can proceed with this, a very straightforward problem, and quickly come up with the cost of production plus the deemed margin, or in other words, the value of supply as per Rule 30. Yes. Meanwhile, I'll work it out in the Excel sheet. That's just for references. You can proceed with your working. If you're done with it, you can share your answers on the chat box. A lot of you have a different experiences on cost sheet. So bring all your experience of cost sheet. A few of you start answering it. I've received 4 answers. All 4 answers are different. That's the best part of the discussion. Fifth answer, again different. How many combinations possible? To what extent I have tried 12 combination possible? That is why this question comes up in exam. 12 different combinations possible, which means this problem can be solved in 12 different ways, getting up different answer, but the right answer is only one. Okay. Correct answer is one, but because of our understanding, our thought process, our experiences on the subject costing makes us more comfortable here. Nothing on GST. As far as GST is concerned, 110% plus cost of production. Sorry, 110% of cost of production or cost of production plus 10%. You can call in whatever way. That's all Rule 30 ends. How to determine cost of production? Earlier, we have a reference of a particular standard. Today, that reference to a particular standard, as I earlier mentioned, is lacking. So, we have to arrive on a methodological way. So, yes. 5 answers I have received. Of that 5 answers, two of them are of the same answer. Okay. Vishnu Prasad and Prasad, both of them are same answer. Other three of them, Vaishnavi or Ganapati or Nitya Shri, all of them are different answers. I'm not concluding which answer is right. That's a tough answer. I don't remember the answer. But quick, I want others to try come up with the numbers. Let's make our effort. 6,81,000 plus profit margin of 15%. Balaji, you are highlighting this. Your number itself is COP itself is this number plus margin need to be added. You all should see my chat box. Then only you will believe. Your pattern, every single answer is different. Good. Six lakh 40,200, 6,33,660, 7,60,100, 6,60,100, 8,36,471, 8,584.4, 7,38,100, 6,06,100. Great. 588,500. The last and the least value answer is 588,500. Good. See, a lot of us have different views. I'll do one thing. I'll 6,40,200. The Shruti 6,33,650. Okay, should be 6,06,100. In case, we'll test it. We'll test it. I'll discuss with based on my understanding of cost sheet. Okay, I know you are all expert in it. I am not supposed to speak about that. Hope my Excel sheet is visible for all of you. So, 1 month. So we'll start with direct material consumed. Direct material uh, direct material is going to be 2,36,000 rupees, including of GST. So we are going to arrive a cost excluding GST. Okay. Sir, why excluding GST? Very simple. When Rule 30 and all is applicable, it is a clear assumption that is being made that fellow is eligible for ITC. If he is not eligible for ITC, again, question has to highlight to you, it is assumed, clearly assumed, ITC is eligible. Sir, how do I know this assumption? See, in GST, you have to go with a favorable assumption only. Sir, if he is dealing in exempted goods, what should I do? Somewhere the question should say that fellow is dealing in exempted goods. If the question is silent, then once it is always a favorable assumption to be taken, which is he is eligible, or you have to assume that he is eligible for claiming ITC. Once he is eligible to claim ITC from the material 2,36,000, we are going to remove the GST portion into 18 by 118. We will get rupees 36,000, which is eligible for ITC. So the value of material will be rupees 2 lakhs. This is our starting point, is working reversals, all should form part of our answer. Followed by nothing great about direct labor. Direct labor again form parts of our activity, which is going to be lakh and 60,000, and other direct expenses, direct expenses, which is going to be 40,000. We'll get our prime cost. So followed by we call it also as in a normal way factory overheads, or we also call it as works cost. I don't know how you going to call it as. For me, all the same. But in this, we will have some other additions. We will have indirect material, which cannot be directly allocated to the product, which is apportioned to the product, is what is a costing understanding. Maybe it could be some kind of consumables, or it could be any other items that are there. Factory overheads, maybe you can understand it as a general factory overheads. Which will be 80,000, followed by admin overheads, uh, which is farming part of production, which is going to be 20% for production of goods. So total admin overheads is rupees 1,50,000. Of that, 20% is going to be for this thing. So we will add 20,000, 20% of it, factory overheads, admin overheads, quality control, expenses. Sometimes they'll give quality control expenses, sometimes they'll give R&D expenses. All these are all farming part of your product costing by as per the general costing standards. And sale of scrap or realizable value of scrap. Now here, realizable value of scrap. When it comes to this, by this time itself, a lot of you would have understood. Majority of you would have had it or driven in this model only. A few of you would have deviated. Realizable value, how much we are going to put? Realizable value of scrap, how much we are going to mention? Are we going to mention 20,000? Are we going to mention 15,000? Are we going to mention 5,000? Are we going to mention none of the above? 20, 15, 5, none of the above. What we are going to mention is this can be reduced from COP? First basic question. See, because for majority of us, still here answer would have went right. Maybe it should strike to us quality control should be added. That might be the one difference. Indirect material, I don't find any difference at all. All of you would have had it. But this quality control and realizable value, in my view, are the tricky areas in this problem. I don't find anything other than this is something special in this problem. Yes. Okay. It has to be reduced or it cannot be reduced. A view comes, it cannot be reduced because it's a cost statement. In a cost statement, how you can reduce an income? Nyayamana kelvi. Yes, quick. See, you buy a raw material, that raw material is going to be processed. In that processing, there is going to be a waste and scrap. That waste and scrap is going to be reduced from the cost of the product, or it will be credited to the P&L account as another income. Hey, come on here. Indirect material is already form part of factory overheads. Kindly don't assume. Uh-huh. Factory overheads is allocatable. What is it? Allocatable expenses. You will have indirect material. You will have indirect labor, indirect expenses. Let me repeat it. In exam, you will get all these three. Now, all these three, you have to bring it only to your works cost. Now, come back to my question. My question was very simple. Your realizable value of scrap. Let me repeat it. I know a lot of you are all pursuing final of uh, CA, CMA, CS, all this and all. I let me repeat it. You have four numbers: 20,000, 15,000, 5,000. None of the above. What should I need to reduce? Is going to be the prime question here. Quick. I have to reduce, let me repeat, it's an income, 15,000. Normal loss is reduced from your cost of production. See, at least my costing faculty has told me like this. So, with that understanding, I would say if it is an abnormal loss, no doubt about it, it will not form part of your cost of production because it has to go to your costing P&L account. Direct credit, it's an exceptional transaction, but it is a regular transaction. I'll get a regular scrap in my product activity. In those circumstances, so come back here. Now, if we arrive a value, now when we arrive a value, that would be our works costs, and our cost of production will be this number.
Hello. Okay.
A few of you got it right at the first go. I do understand. வாங்க யாராவது தப்பு பண்ணுவீங்கன்றதுக்காக தானே இந்த கேள்வியெல்லாம் கேட்குறோம். 15% தானே சார் ப்ராஃபிட் கம்பெனிக்கு. My goodness, we are valuing as per rule 10, sorry, rule 30. Rule 30 standard rule, profit margin is 10%. யாராவது கடைசியா வந்து இங்கேயாவது தப்பு பண்ணுங்கன்றதுக்காக தானே. பாருங்க, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ட்ராப் 1, இது ட்ராப் 2, quality control, trap 3, okay, realizable value. In that, for somebody, they should be in a position 1. It is a realizable value of scrap. A scrap is an income. An income will reduce your cost. Sir, is it not credited to my P&L? நான் காஸ்டிங்ல இருந்து பேசுறேன். From my product cost, it will get reduced. See, I bought a material for 100 rupees. See, if you know this scrap is an exclusive scrap of material, you will in fact reduce your 2 lakhs itself. Okay, scrap of material. இது வந்து ஒரு ஜெனரல் ஸ்கிராப்பா இருக்கறனால நான் ஃபேக்டரி ஓவர்ஹெட்ஸ்ல ரெடியூஸ் பண்றேன். Let me repeat it. I'm reducing it on the factory overheads on an assumption which is made as per costing itself, that it is a reduction from, it's a general scrap. It's not a specific material scrap. No, 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 sir, this is a specific material scrap. Then my material value itself will get reduced. My material value will not be 2 lakhs. My material value will be 2 lakhs minus this realizable value. So come back here. First trap is indirect material. Majority of us will take a position, right? Quality control, we'll have doubt whether to be included or not. I don't have any challenge from a final perspective. Admin overheads 20% should be added. Followed by, if you are all done till here, there, a last limb discussion would be profit at 10%. Then I'm not sure how many of you all got it right. Anybody got the 611, 600? I saw one or two answers. Anybody? 611, 600. Quick. Yes. Want me to go to the question page once again? Yes, if you all have any doubts, yes, I would take it up. You can raise your hand, or if you want to unmute yourself, 1 minute, I'll allow you to unmute yourself. Yes, make yourself comfortable. You can unmute yourself. Somebody has raised hand. Prasad, yes.
சார் அது அப்நார்மல் லாஸ் தானே சார், நார்மல் லாஸ் இல்லையே?
எதுமா
அங்க கொடுத்துருக்கீங்களே சார் 5000.
5000 அப்நார்மல் லாஸ் எழுதல.
பட் நீங்க நார்மல் லாஸ்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க சார். அப்நார்மல் லாஸ் ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணக்கூடாது, நார்மல் லாஸ் தானே ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணணும்.
நான் நார்மல் லாஸ் தானே ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். 15,000 தானே ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன்.
பட் இங்க அப்நார்மல் லாஸ்னு கொடுத்துருக்கீங்களா சார்? எனக்கு இது புரியல, கொஞ்சம் ரிப்பீட் பண்றீங்களா?
Total loss scrap value is 20,000. Total loss value, realizable value of scrap and waste is 20,000, of which abnormal loss is 5,000, which means, Prasad,
இருக்கேன் சார்.
Prasad, if your total realizable value from scrap is 20,000, abnormal loss is 5,000, the balancing figure 15,000 is what?
அது ஸ்கிராப் தானே சார்? ஓகே 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 ஓகே
ஃபைனல் மா லாஸ் ரெண்டு வகை தான் படும். Your scrap loss can be only two types, either normal or abnormal. That's all. சார் இது எப்படி சார் எனக்கு தெரியும்? மன்னிச்சிடுங்க, காஸ்ட் ஷீட் படிச்சிருக்கணும், அதுல தெரியும். எஸ். Quick. Anything else? Anybody have a different thought?
Sir, what about selling and distribution expenses? In valuation of supply mention including incidental expenses.
No. Cost of production. It's not a cost of production.
But sir, yes, I agree. Cost of production not included, sir. But here compute taxable value of supply only mentioned, sir.
Correct.
So, sir, valuation supply under GST mentions values are included all in.
No, Balaji. Rule 30 says what? As per Rule 30, you need to determine what is the question. You need to determine. Yeah, yes.
Got it, sir. Got it. Rule as per 30 rules, cost of production only.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Agree. Anything? Make yourself comfortable. See, the first problem, it will be like this only. I'll honestly share with you. I left my exam problem itself. I know everything. Instead of quality control, there was an entry called as R&D, research and development expenses. I don't know what is the treatment for research and development expenses. Left this easy question and attempted for a little more tough question. It doesn't mean I don't know that question. So it was a either or choice was given to me in that problem. I need to take up another question. Questions like this is easy, but we need to know what treatment need to be given for this. Now, any case, let me repeat it. There is an alternate way in which this problem can be worded. I can give you realizable value of scrap and wastage 20,000 and normal loss rupees 15,000. Alternate method. Again, somewhere in the problem, I can also come out and share to you that the goods are, the final product is exempted supply, which means that 36,000 will be added as a cost. See, let me repeat, sir. How do I know all this? Come on, being a costing student, being a person who read the costing paper, you should be aware if credit is not taken, it is a cost. It's a standard assumption. If credit is not taken, it's a cost. And under GST, it's a general principle. You are entitled for a ITC. Whenever you are entitled for ITC, it cannot be treated as cost. Double benefit is not possible. So those are all the aspects associated with it. Can I go to question page? I think I'm in question page only. Oh, second question are there. Okay. R&D will also be added. Research and development expenses will also be. See, you make a test. If that test, if satisfy, it is an expenses in connection with your factory overheads, works cost. It will be added in your works cost because factory overheads is a very small area. Works cost is a very big area. If you feel like it would be added in your works cost, and then no doubt it should be form part of your COP. Done? Yes. Can we move forward? Yes. This sums up our discussion relating to a few problems. See, in this variety, we can start doing a many number of problems. I'll curtail my discussions here. Maybe sometime later we will do problem as a case study question in connection with once part A topic is over. We will take a class which will be in connection with all the part A topics. We have only ITC with us. Once we close ITC, all these areas are always known for the different case study questions. We will take it up. Now we'll make our beginning towards a discussion on the next part of our discussion on our valuation. Tenmuri, I'll do that later because I just now closed that and opened another presentation. See, in a system, at one point in time, I'm allowed to use only one application. If I use a multiple application, at your end, you are all facing a lag because the processor is optimally used in case of all these activities. Now, at the fag end, I'll open it. Okay. Because there is another presentation is open and it's running. Yes. Getting into valuation of lottery ticket. I would recommend don't read through your first topic. Okay, this just completely ignore it. Now we have changed the model. Now no more two methods of valuation from very recent amendment which happened sometime during March 2020. We came out and told when it comes to valuation of lottery ticket, it will be 28%. In fact, this is the first resolution that came up with a based on the votes. All along, all resolutions were unanimous resolutions. Every state government accepted, every central government accepted. But here alone, we had divided between the central and state government in terms of the view how it has to be taxed. It is to be taxed at 12% or 28%, for which they need to take up a position. What has finally concluded was the because there are two different views associated with it. Government came out and highlighted that we will go by based on votes in the GST Council, and a 28% rate is determined. Whatever be the value or the printed value of the ticket, or the price that is being at which it is being given, that value includes your 28% GST. So to put it in a different way, the price that is notified by the respective state or the face value of the ticket, generally both will be same, both will not be different. Generally both are same. Of these two, whichever is higher, the face value or the ticket notified by the state, remove that word organizing state. Now we don't bother much about organizing state. Earlier, organizing state, other than organizing state, two wordings were important. Kerala is an organizing state. If the Kerala ticket is sold in another state, it is called as other than the organizing state. Okay. Now all these are all became redundant. Entire state, any state wherever lottery tickets are sold, 28% GST will be collected. Now, similarly, in case of actionable claim, any kind of actionable claim where there is a chance of winning is there. It could be gambling, it could be betting, it could be horse racing, or whatever be it. Face value of the bet, that would be treated as a value of supply. Okay. Immediately don't jump me, don't ask me. I'm very clear. Don't ask me about what will happen to Dream 11, what will happen to this, that, and all. My simplest answer would be the value that you bet, that will become your value of supply. Okay. The value of bet will become value of supply. But is it a betting or gambling? Itself is a debate by itself. Is it a game of skill or it is a game of chance? Okay, hope you could able to appreciate it. It's a game of skill or it's a game of chance. High courts need to decide, Supreme Court need to decide. As of now, a simplest way of asking is how Dream 11 or how all those different apps you have, I'm not sure about it. All those apps which which has all this playing, it could be Rummy, MPL, I don't know. You have varieties of them. Okay. How all these people account for, how all these people need to comply with it, for which my answer is very simple. What is your value of bet? That will be the value of supply. On that they have to pay GST. A very particular rule. First paragraph alone, kindly ignore it. It is not applicable for ensuing onwards. It's a little now becomes an outdated provision. Today, lottery ticket is what is the face value of ticket? That face value divided into 100 by 120, which means the face value includes GST. What is your value of bet? What is going to be your value of your money that you're going to pledge for the game of chance? That value will become the value of supply. Getting into 4 different methods of valuation, a special methods of valuation of 4 different industry. Foreign exchange dealer, first we will deal. Then air travel agent, then an insurance company, then a used goods dealer. This foreign exchange dealer alone, I will park from today's discussion. Our time will not allow us to take up foreign exchange dealer discussion. It's a 45 minutes discussion. An exclusive discussion requires 1 or 2 problems to do in between. So it looks simple. Let me repeat. It looks simple. but it's a little detailed discussion. Just give me a minute. You can bet. So we will do one thing. We'll proceed. We have about another 50 minutes plus on our hand. We will try this discussion. When it comes to foreign exchange dealer, government came out and told that we will give you two options. Option one, a determination of value of supply as per RBI reference rate, based on RBI reference rate. Option two, determining value of supply based on your gross amount of currency exchange, GACE. Based on currency exchanged, one method. Based on RBI reference rate, another method. Let's understand that first. In a foreign exchange dealer, if you are a foreign exchange dealer, there are two models of calculation of value of supply possible. One is RBI reference rate basis. Another one is going to be foreign exchange dealer, gross amount basis. So what is the currency exchange basis? Coming back to RBI reference rate basis. Generally, foreign exchange dealer sell foreign currencies. They sell. Look only from foreign exchange dealer perspective. Don't get into the shoes of the consumer. இது சொல்லும்போது தான் மனசு அப்படியே கன்சியூமருக்கு போகும். You think only from FE dealer, foreign exchange dealer perspective. I, as a foreign exchange dealer, always sell the foreign currency more than RBI reference rate, buy the foreign currency less than RBI reference rate. If I do in this way only, I will always make profit. RBI reference rate is the rate at which RBI buys foreign currency and also sells foreign currency to others. Okay, it's a constant rate, the rate which is notified by RBI. RBI does not notify for all currencies, all 160 odd currencies or so. It notifies only for 13 highly traded currency. 13 highly traded foreign currency alone it is notified. So points for our discussion. In case of your foreign exchange dealer, the difference between RBI reference rate and buying rate, selling rate and RBI reference rate will be the gain. That into number of currencies, we will know the value of supply. Sir, RBI sells dollars for 75. Good. If foreign exchange dealer buy dollar for 73 and sell dollar for 77, 77 minus 75, 2 rupees per dollar he charges extra. If he has sold, foreign exchange dealer sold $250, 250 into 2, 500 rupees will become value of supply. Similarly, RBI reference rate is 75. Somebody came with $500, he collected $500, gave INR. When he purchased 500 into 73, he arrived the conversion. That money he paid in INR. Actually, RBI buys at 75, whereas this fellow bought at 73. Gap is 2 rupees. 2 rupees into 500, 1,000 rupees become value of supply. Hope you appreciate it. It is qua transaction has to be determined per transaction. Qua transaction means per transaction. Every transaction, do I need to do like this? Yes. Because everything is a separate transaction. One fellow comes and buy foreign currency. One fellow goes and sell foreign currency to him. Okay, I'll rephrase it. One fellow foreign currency is sold, to one fellow from one fellow foreign currency is purchased. Now, for our discussion, this is how value of supply will be determined when it comes to your foreign exchange dealer. Sir, in case if RBI reference rate is not available, exceptional discussion, I deal with a currency where RBI reference rate is not available. How it is possible? Maybe not a highly traded foreign currency. It could be your Thailand baht, okay, not highly traded in the market, forex dealer market. So somebody can always say, I don't have this. In case of RBI reference rate, not available, what to do? That fellow would have purchased for some rupees. That fellow would have sold that foreign currency for some rupees. Yes. Buying rate of FE dealer, buying rate of foreign exchange dealer, or selling rate of FE dealer, foreign exchange dealer, into number of units, you will get one number. So that is a gross amount, correct? That gross amount into 1% is value of supply. Gross amount into 1% is value of supply. At this level, exactly. Before me moving forward on this topic for further discussion, let me take you through some illustrations to take a little bit of grip on this topic. Bala. Charge. I have here two transactions. Let me repeat. Some basic information. Foreign exchange dealer, selling rate of dollars is 75 per dollar, and Great Britain pound rupees 94 per Great Britain pound. Similarly, foreign exchange dealer buying rate of dollars is 71 per dollar and 90 per Great Britain pound. RBI reference rate for both the currencies are there. First transaction, $500 was sold by foreign exchange dealer. Foreign exchange dealer sold $500. And the RBI reference rate, and next transaction was on $350 purchased. Determine value of supply as per rule 32(1)(a). So you need to determine your value of supply as per RBI reference rate. Yes, basing on RBI reference rate. Quick, go ahead. I want your answers. Very simple calculation. Get your answer, put it on the chat box. Quick. Possible. Go ahead. The difference between value of supply of A, value of supply of B. Let us have it separate because these are all different transactions per transaction. So that would be better than combining it. See, technically one is apple, one more is orange. You cannot add and say fruits. Apple so much, orange so much. That's how it has to be determined. Already few people came up with the answer, which is right in my view. Quick. If somebody can do, we can also do. Janani, yes, can you check your answer? Others, whoever shared, all of you are right. Ganapati, check your answer. You are coming up with gross amount. I am talking of value of supply. நீங்க ஏதோ பெரிய நம்பர்லாம் போறீங்க, அவ்வளவு பெரிய நம்பர்லாம் வராது. இது சில ஆயிரங்கள்ல தான் வரும். உங்களுக்கு லாபமே என்ன? 72.5க்கும் விக்கிற பிரைஸ்க்கும் உள்ளதுதான் லாபம். நீங்க கிராஸ்க்கு போக கூடாது. நான் எவ்வளவு டர்ன் ஓவர் பண்ணேன் தெரியுமா? உங்களுக்கு எவ்வளவு லாபம், அவ்வளவுதான். I think your revised answer now you said, no, that is true, Ganapati. Balaji, one more answer is pending, I believe. Quick. See, if you do it by yourself, you will get one comfort that is very much important for us from a discussion perspective. See, it's easy to always leave it to me. I will do. I'm not denying I will not do and all. I'll comfortably do, happily will do. But understand, I'm not going to take up any more exams. I'm done with from these professional exams and all. Okay. If institute says you once again write the exam, then only we will reconfer you the professional certificate. I would better stay away and say thanks for conferring me already itself. Okay. Because in a mood you get cleared. Janani, your revised number is right. Good. All of you are getting it right. That's all. Nothing great about it. See, first transaction A, value of supply will be difference between it's sold, no? Difference between selling rate of foreign exchange dealer. Selling rate of foreign exchange dealer is 75. minus RBI reference rate 72.50 into how many currency units exchanged? 500. Number of foreign currency units. We will get rupees 1,250 as our value of supply. That's all. Absolutely, that's all. Beyond that, nothing. Next transaction. Value of supply. Here, this currency is not sold. It is purchased. So 350 Great Britain pound is purchased. The buying rate of foreign exchange dealer is 90 per Great Britain pound. Whereas RBI reference rate is 92 per Great Britain pound. 92 minus 90 into 350 foreign currency units. So I'll get rupees 700. Sir, 1,950 can I write? No, I already told apple is apple, orange is orange. Okay. Through, can we move forward? Any doubts here? A very simplest entry earlier has appeared in exams. Okay. Now, the interesting part of this question, okay, maybe I'll take it up as a supplementary question. The interesting part of this question is, one minute. Maybe this would be a little technical question to you. Okay. $100 was purchased and 79 Great Britain pound is sold. 1 minute, I will confirm. 75 Great Britain pound sold. You can call it as case 1, case study 1. You can call this as a case study 2. We have one more variation. And the fourth variation is little more interesting. Only when we have a little eagerness to learn, we can arrive at the situation. Yes, quick. See, now I'm going to have a cross transaction between these two. How am I going to arrive values? For which, don't be bothered. We'll discuss the provision income and then it will be automatic to you. When it comes to transaction between two foreign currency 1 into RBI reference rate of that currency, you'll get one amount. Foreign currency 2 into RBI reference rate of the second currency, you will get the second amount. Okay. Among these two, whichever is less amount in terms of the amount 1, amount 2, whichever is less, among that amount, that into 1% is your value of supply. Let me repeat, foreign currency 1, dollars, or you Great Britain pound, whichever you want, you can take. It is FC1, foreign currency 1. Similarly, FC2, foreign currency 2. FC1 into your foreign currency 1 into RBI reference rate. Foreign currency 2, the second currency into its RBI reference rate. You will arrive an amount that into 1% will become your value of supply. So coming back to our illustration with this background, when $100 was purchased and 75 Great Britain pound is sold by the dealer, what will be your value of supply? Quick. When $100 is purchased and 75 Great Britain pound is sold, is there is a transaction between two foreign currencies? Yes, I purchase $100 from you and I give Great Britain pound. You are coming from USA and now going to London. So this transaction is possible in the counter gate. I get a number, value of supply is good. Lot of you getting it right. Good. Proceed. I want a rest lot of you to do. I will do. Let me repeat it. Honestly, I will do. That's an information. It's waste. It's waste. When you do and you get it. Whoever reported till now, all of you all right. Let me repeat. All of you means all of you right. Good. Happy for all of you. Foreign currency one is nothing but dollars. When it comes to dollars valuation, 100 into RBI reference rate of 100, which is going to be 70 rupees, 72.50. I'll get 725000. ಇಲ್ಲ 7250. Another amount I'll get, which need to be Great Britain pound, which is 75 Great Britain pound into rupees 92. I'm not sure how much. It's not rupees. 75, 92. 6,900. Among these two amount, whichever is less. Lowest amount is 6,900. Lowest amount is 6,900. So for this transaction, value of supply will be 6,900 amount to into 1% equal to rupees 16. I'm sure all of us would have shown this working wherever we are doing. All this working, all this is all relevant, sir. Yes, all are relevant. Done. Can we move forward? Yes. All this is okay if the transaction is going to be between foreign currency, this, that, and all, it is okay. Now, in my case, the transaction is going to be with other than foreign currency. What should I do? Now, here only a doubt will come. Other than foreign currency, how it is possible? Okay. Copy this one. Please. Foreign exchange of foreign exchange selling rate of dollars is okay. Rupees 30 per Thailand baht. Rupees 25 per Thailand baht. And RBI reference rate, obviously not available. Okay. Then only you'll get case 3. No compass system. If you want case 3, RBI reference rate should not be available. And there should be transaction in that currency. $350 Thailand baht is sold by Of course, we are working only on RBI reference rate method. Our discussion will be in that count only. I don't want you to take this discussion to any other direction. So, what is going to be your value of supply? Yes, quick. Thailand baht. Bala. Angela. Yes, quick. Good. Correct. Quick. See, somebody virtually located somewhere can text and come up with the right answer. I think we all can come up with it. Ganapati, can you check your answer? First A, then B. You are doing case study 3 or case 3 only for A, not for B. அதில் ஏதாவது ட்விஸ்ட் இருக்கா சார்? ஒரு வேக்கனையும் இல்லை. What twist you have there? No twist. Straightforward question. A, 1 point should strike to us for that. Yes. True. Can we move forward? Now, in case of sale of Thailand baht, where RBI reference rate is not available, value of supply will be gross amount of currency exchanged. One percent of gross amount of currency exchanged. Correct. So maybe we can write this text first, and then immediately what we can do, value of supply equal to selling rate of foreign exchange dealer into number of foreign currency unit. You will get GAC, gross amount of currency exchange. Okay, remember this word. Acronym GAC will be used many times. So value of supply will be 1% of Hope all of you got it. Okay, this is for your A transaction. For your B transaction, very simple. Value of supply will be 90, 71, 72, 72.5 22.5 minus 71 into 1,850. Two seven seven. So all of you got this number. Okay, this is how it should have been done. One month. A last leg of discussion on this will be this question. Just give me a minute. One minute. Maybe an exceptional discussion could be this discussion. $50 is purchased and 118 Thailand baht is sold. Let me repeat. A case for the most toughest question in your exam could be this. A case 4 question. I'm not sure it's below fag end. $50 is purchased and 118 Thailand baht is sold. A genuine doubt will come. Sir, we did a earlier problem case 2 where RBI reference rate was available for both the currencies. So we arrived at 69. Now what to do? Very simple. If RBI reference rate is not available, you always have a foreign exchange dealer rate. You use the buying rate or selling rate as the case may be. For dollar, you can use the RBI reference rate. For Thailand baht, you can use the buying rate or selling rate of foreign exchange dealer based on the activity. Arrive a number. Among that number, whichever is less into 1% will be value of supply. That's an exceptional discussion, out and out exceptional discussion. Make yourself more comfortable on this work. $50 RBI reference rate, amount 1. 118 Thailand baht. It's sold or purchased from a foreign exchange dealer perspective. It is sold. Sold means I have a selling rate of foreign exchange dealer. As RBI reference rate is not available, I'll use the selling rate of foreign exchange dealer. Pick up that number, put it here, arrive an amount, check the amount on amount to whichever is less. Among that less into 1% will be my values. Yes. Try it out. Yes, somebody comes up with a number, quick. I want a space. I don't want to pick it up this question to the next page. So a little clumsy if I hear it. Good. Yes, whoever answered all of you all right till now. Okay. So the working would go like this. $50. Of course, $50 mentioned. In case of dollars, it will be 50 into RBI reference rate, which is 72.4. So we'll get the amount 1. Similarly, for Thailand baht, we don't have an RBI reference rate. So what we have to do is, how many Thailand baht? 118 into, here Thailand baht is sold. Because Thailand baht is sold, we have to take selling rate. In case if it is purchased, we will use it what? Buying rate of foreign exchange dealer. Selling rate of foreign exchange dealer is 30. So we'll arrive another number. So 118 into 30, one number, 3,540. 50 into 72.5. 3625. Among these two amount, whichever is less, the lowest amount is value of supply will be 3,540 into 1% equal to rupees 35.0. A lot of you got it 35.4. Okay, I'm happy you all understood this logic. Sir, is a case 5 problem is possible? In my humble view, it will not come in exam. Sir, if it comes in exam, what should I do? Maybe some of you can guess what is case 5. Case 1 you did, case 2 you did, 3, 4 you did. Case 5, what would be the best problem? Case 5. Any guess? See, we should reach a level where we start constructing our questions. When we know the question only, we can come up with the answer. So, what question is possible? Yes. Somebody has answered. Dandraj, பாருங்க elevated soul ஆயிட்டீங்க. ஐஸ்வர்யா வேற level. வேற யாரெல்லாம் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறோம்னு பார்க்கலாம். Hey, I'm seriously waiting. I'm not joking. I'm very, very seriously waiting because the moment you reach that level, no, you know, poda எந்த பால் வேணா போடுறான்னு அடிக்கிறேன். See, a moment where somebody would practice well, no. For case 5. Vishnu Prasad, that is case 5. Case 4 we discussed. Case 5, your answer is right. That's all. A lot of you are thinking in your mind, nothing rate. Both currency does not have RBI reference rate. By this model, what we are confirming is the current model of valuation will allow you to do every kind of transaction. If you have a RBI reference rate, you can determine value. If you don't have a RBI reference rate, you can determine value. If a transaction happens between foreign currency, you can determine value. If a transaction happens between two different currency, of which one RBI reference rate available, one RBI reference rate not available, you can determine value. A transaction happen with two different currencies and both does not have RBI reference rate, then also you can value. See, come on, that's all maximum transactions possible in foreign currency. Beyond this, there is nothing possible. Now we have understood all 5 cases. Fifth case we never did, but just we have orally discussed. It is a transaction between South African dollar and Thailand baht. Or I'll rephrase it. South African dollar also of late the government has started to notify. It's an Indonesian rupiah and Thailand baht. Okay. Indonesian rupiah not notified, mean not highly traded foreign currency, and Thailand baht not highly traded foreign currency. If a transaction happens between both of them, 1% of the gross amount normally will arrive. And if in case of cross rate, that fellow's buying rate, this fellow's selling rate, put it into whichever is less, that into 1%. So every transaction can be valued. That is what is the message from Rule 32A. We have just discussed one sub-rule in 32 of foreign exchange dealer, only the first method. We have one more method itself is pending, which is a limit-based method up to 1 lakh rupees, up to 10 lakh rupees, beyond 10 lakh rupees, how to determine. Once we are done with that method, we can get into the other methods of valuation, which we will do it in our next class when we meet on that. Once that aspect is over, when it comes to special category, we will do then and there problem, so we will not do it separately. Once that is over, that will take us to a comfortable move for input tax credit. So that's from the today's discussion. At this level, I'll wind up today's discussion over here on your valuation of special category. Thank you all for effective and patience.